Go on, Mr. Maps.
Yo, what it do, what it is.
What it is, what it does. You're alive and kicking.
Yeah. I'm alive. Can't complain. Feeling better. Very tired of late. But I think my energy levels are slowly getting back to where they need to be. Slowly.
COVID.
Nah. I'm still avoiding the disease, fam. I've never had it. And I don't think, hopefully, knock on wood, I never will. But no, I've been doing my thing, social distancing, sanitizing, everything, masks, all of that good shit.
What a difficult. I'm actually fighting flu as we speak.
COVID, but it's okay. As long as you're fine in what?
I've had COVID.
2 weeks?
Yeah, they're about.
Oh yeah, exactly.
But I mean,
exactly.
I've had COVID before. I've had COVID. COVID doesn't give you flu symptoms like a runny nose and sneezing and all of that.
So Kotola.
Just
Should I pack jersey?
Huh? Nah, it's not that cold yet. I mean, pack a jersey because it's windy post 6 p.m. But other than that, so good.
So how our ass is going to be shaken on yachts in sweaters then? How is that going to work?
Dog, this is not Dubai. After 6, the temperatures drop, the wind starts stinging, and we get ourselves sorted very quickly. But I mean, the hottest month here in Cape Town are from like October to like Feb. After that, it's not as great.
Aish. Should have told me that earlier when we were planning. But anyway, it is what it is. Guys, welcome back. It is another episode of 6 Foot Weights. Your favorite hour with your favorite cheese boys. My name is Tabo.
My name is Senna.
And we're back again to do the damn thing. Mr. Moyo, you sounded kind of slow on that one. Is everything okay?
No, I think I'm okay. Is there a lag? I hope there's no lag. But I
feel like there's no lag.
I mean, that was quick. I was quick with it. I was quick to it.
I felt like there was a lag. But anyway, let's see what happens. Whatever. We'll make whatever adjustments are necessary when the time comes. So quick housekeeping, because we'll start with this right from the top, because we spoke about this, but unfortunately we had to cut it from last week's episode. Just some in 6 Foot Weights Fantasy League updates. So last week we had shouted out Ropa and then Prof, because they're first and second in that order. Ropa's opened up a bit of a lead on Prof. Shout out to Ropa's team, Walala Wasala. Doing really well. And then you have Togo and Panache 5th and 6th. What else did I see? Oh yeah, Fez 11th. Not bad. Pretty decent from Fez. Fez used to anchor our leagues, bro. Fez used to be pretty. So I'm proud of Fez. This is good. Then I'm 17th, bro. It's slowly climbing. It is what it is. Mr. Moyo 23rd. 8 points, bro. 8 points.
I've reached that point of fantasy that I reach every single year. It's a normal thing. No, literally, this is what happened. I miss where, especially with these COVID years and back-to-back fixtures. What usually then happens is there's a midweek game that I'll miss, or a Friday kickoff that I'll miss, and that will just send me back on points, and then from there it's downhill, because I just
said I had 1, 2, 3, 4 players who in my starting 11, 4 out of my 11 who had no fixtures. I got 51 points off of 3/4 of my team. There's no excuses.
I literally haven't touched my team in weeks.
You were below average. Average score was 28. But anyway, continue with your excuses. Then obviously a special shout out to the anchor of anchors, Ayanda, Basela FC. I am Basela Civil. It's a number, bro. You know when we'd pick what's this thing called? Like, when we play Bora, when we were kids, and two captains would pick. And then it's just like the one person or the two guys that get picked at the end, where it's just like, you know what, try it 6-on-6, so it's just a number. Like, I really didn't want you on my team, but hey, I need 6 players to make this work. But shout out to Ayanda for anchoring consistently.
That must have done a lot of psychological damage to some kids.
Oh, probably.
Being picked last is not a
nice
favorable thing,
especially consistently. I remember there were a couple guys who got picked last all the time when we would play, different sports and stuff like that, and you could see it on their face. I mean, there was one guy in particular I remember. At some point, he just became strong. Like, it didn't even faze him anymore. In the beginning, like, he used to look sad, and then towards the end, it was like, I just want to play, So
it literally starts from primary school. It starts from when you're all kids, and then right, mang do mang, stand aside, pick a team, and then you start picking teams.
Yeah,
and then just obviously get to the same guys.
Yeah, I mean, we still do it now, because like when I used to live in a different part of Dubai, right, a few years ago, and we had a basketball court that was like close by. So after work, Tate and I would go play ball, and it was just general pickup games, right? And guys would all get there around 8 p.m. And then people shoot around for a little bit. Then we pick teams, and then we start going at it. And like, obviously, as we all got to know each other over the weeks, we knew who are the ballers, who are the washers. For those who don't understand what washers are, a washer is someone who's not so good. So yeah, in terms of but by that point, a few weeks, we knew who was good, who was not, and like you would consistently see certain people getting picked last, and this is stuff. This is 2018, 2019 stuff, not like 2007. It's just, at the end of the day, I think it's everybody. In sports, we're all competitors. We all want to win. We're all trained to think to win. Everybody winning is fun. There's no one who has fun losing in sports. At least not someone who, I don't think you're a genuine sportsman. If you're cool with losing, I don't think you're a genuine sportsman. But anyway, so
I just think
that's what happens. You're the strongest team.
Yeah, true. But then I think when you're kids, that can do some psychological harm to some kids who may feel like, why am I never picked? Obviously you're not good, but it may be very discouraging to certain peeps. Like discourage them from playing altogether if you're there to just make up numbers.
Fair enough. I mean, yeah, true. I'm sure there are people here who stopped playing a certain sport because they were just like, check. It just, it turned me off that I was always the last pick or stuff like that. And then, I completely, can understand that. And then the second thing that I wanted to bring up in this housekeeping is that people clearly were not listening when we had our discussion last week, our very comprehensive discussion. Everyone wants to go around with the headline that Tabo said he's pro-war, which is not what I said.
You know what? Can I say something?
Yes, go ahead.
There's a tweet which encapsulated my feelings very accurately. Because we've had like a wide range of opinions post the fact.
Mm-hmm.
There's one person who said, and I quote, because this is how I was feeling while I was talking to you last week, and I was getting very frustrated. That I could feel the frustration in Senna's voice. Nothing as irritating as speaking facts, and the other side is not, but they're just laughing to put you off balance. Because there was a point where I'm like, am I like, is this guy not getting it?
No. Honestly,
And then,
honestly speaking,
what was funny is you were being privileged and stubborn. And then you turned around and said, I'm being privileged and stubborn. I'm like,
because you were. Oh my God. Anyway, no. Listen.
And then
let's squash
then you
it,
went
bro.
out and said,
Yeah.
I was squashing it. But I think it's funny how then you're like, I'm going to run a poll and I'm going to come back and I'm gonna show you. Hey, I'm like, okay, my guy, do it. You know, it's fine. And then you did it. And then the overwhelming response was...
It wasn't that bad. It was like 60%.
You know, I even had
That's
one
not
person
bad.
come to me and said, I voted Senna by mistake. I meant to say Tabo. Literally in my DMs. Wherever you think it is, just understand that. I think it was overwhelming. Even like the responses, Tabo. I think you can appreciate what he has.
Which is why I said people weren't listening.
That many people can't be wrong.
They can. Because at the end of the day, you know how cancel culture works, man. At the end of the day, you hear what you want to hear. Me, I do not disagree to say locals in war over sanctions. I didn't say that. People must understand the context of the questions that you were asking me, which was, hey, listen, how do you solve the shit right now? Okay, that's the question that you were posing to me, right? And then also, at the end of the day, maanape. And just to wrap it up very succinctly, all I was saying was, and in terms of specifically the privilege line, right, was people are all too happy to be like, chuck sanctions on them, you know, and all that. But I'm like, that's a privileged position because at the end of the day, yes, it's not as bad as war, but you cannot speak for Russian people. Like, no, give them sanctions and it is what it is, right? Like that's where I was like,
I think what you're missing,
left.
Everyone has said it's more nuanced than that, right? Everyone has said it's more nuanced, right? We understand Oguti, sanctions are not good. No one's ever saying sanctions are good. But in the context of what's happening to the people of Ukraine, they may be our best, most peaceful option, you know.
And that's why I said it was a big mistake.
A listener was kind enough. The good thing is, a listener was kind enough to actually set it out for you in the DMs.
No, I saw it. It was a comprehensive and it was a very fair take, right? And I was like, yeah, absolutely, I agree. You know, like I'll respond, but like I agree. People were coming at me like nyalo, like I'm like, no, azich, let's go get him a pitch. You know what I mean? And I was like, I'm not saying that. All I'm saying is,
I think,
like, let's not just chuck sanctions in a situation where we know it's not gonna graft, and then be like, hey, it is what it is. That was my message.
What would you define umuntu olenkani, Thabo?
You.
All I can do is laugh.
No.
This is ridiculous.
I'm here. I'm willing to listen to the people. I'm willing to listen to the people, and I'm just saying that the people were not listening to me. That's it. That's all that I'm saying.
What was your reason? What was your reason for running the poll and all of that?
No, because I genuinely listen to yourself, bro. Like I was convinced. I was convinced that you was wild. Personally,
but I was
fully convinced.
And here's the thing: a lot of people have said I wasn't wilding. And yet you're still saying with him
a lot of these people that you're talking about are the same Zimbabweans who are still under the same rule of the same party since day one. Bro.
You know that you're displaying.
These are suspect niggas.
You're literally displaying all the characteristics you're accusing me of having. All of them. You're displaying them in full.
No, but anyway, all right, it's fine.
And that's the thing.
Me, I'm not gonna argue, and it's okay. Let's leave it. Let's move on.
I think
no, that's fine. Let's next topic.
I think that energy you had last week.
I wanted to smoke.
I'm gonna laugh at you. I'm gonna laugh at you. I'm gonna put the poll, and then the poll will vindicate me and prove that I'm right.
Nah. Can't trust Zimbabweans with sanctioned socials. Can't trust Zimbabweans with it. I'm going to go and poll a different ethnicity or a different nationality. Let's see. We'll come back with some new data.
Let's see what happens. That is a display of Inkani.
FIFA rules, but like you don't go to sleep on an L, bro. You play it. You play it till you win. Otherwise, you don't dance.
You must. I think this particular L you must accept.
No, absolutely not. See, me, I'm trying to move on. Send us trying to keep us there.
I just want. Because I want you to accept with my guy. I lapana shiwa having bet.
No, absolutely not. Nah. We don't bend. We don't fold.
We don't fold. We don't bend. I'm not apologizing to no fucking cocaine addict who fucks bitches with HIV, who thinks he's made it in fucking life. It's cool. You did what you did. You broke into my property. You violated me. Look, everybody. Look. He wants me to publicly apologize. This is a public fuck you.
That's the difference. And I say, I say, that's the true definition of incan. I think you're projecting because you're incan. You're not.
Nope, absolutely not. I have no idea what the fuck you're talking about.
Let's move on.
But anyway,
before I start going,
let's move on.
This discussion again.
So anyway, guys, this is a fresh episode. So brand new Locuzet. So last week I forgot about this, and I don't know why I didn't add it. But anyway, we'll talk about it this week. Kim Kardashian got people riled up. Obviously, she's always, trending. But did you hear her comments about working hard? Like how to become successful?
I heard it.
So I'll play the clip so that everybody is on the same page. But yeah, she pissed off a lot of people. I don't know. Well, I do know why. I kind of understood why people were kind of munyu about what she said. But okay, there we go. Cool. Let's see what Miss Kardashian had to say.
Your fucking ass up. Give the best advice for women in business. Get your fucking ass up and work. It seems like nobody wants to work these days.
That's true.
You have to surround yourself with people that want to work. Have a good work environment where everyone loves what they do because you have one life. No toxic work environments, and show up and do the work.
If you're the smartest person in that room, you got to go to another room. Like I want to be around really successful people because that's going to drive me to be successful. A lot of people get intimidated to be in a room.
So is now the other sister was talking. But anyway, that was pretty much what got people pissed off. Wuti, why is Kim Kardashian saying, Wuti, hey, get your ass? It was, again, she was talking specifically to women, but you can blow it up in general in terms because a lot of people have said something similar, right? And yeah, she was on that work hard. If you don't work hard, what? And people were just kind of like, bruh, it's really not that simple. And also coming from you, obviously people started bringing up the whole Ray J shit as how she got famous and all this other shit and the privilege that she's had. I think her dad was like OJ's lawyer, right? If I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so she comes from money, right? The Bali had his own stack, right? Stacks. And then obviously not everybody's mother is Kris Jenner, right? So, Kris Jenner is the GOAT. Like you have to, that woman does not get enough credit for everything that she did for that whole family, bruh, over the last 20 years. So anyway, this is not to, at least from my point of view, it's not to be like, oh, you got famous because, your sex tape leaked. Lots of famous people have had sex tape leaked, right? Men and women. And they're not nearly as successful as Kim Kardashian. So I understand the hard work that she's put in since then to monetize that shit, turn it into TV, into, makeup lines, fashion, everything that they've done for her to be a billionaire, right? That's absolutely true. That is hard work. But I feel like when you say it like that, because I fully believe that she has worked really, really hard, right, to get to the place that she is. But when you say it that way, it people get annoyed because there's a lot of hardworking people who have nothing to show for it, and it's not their fault at all.
Yeah. Look, I think as you said, I don't think people have an issue with the actual message.
Yeah.
It's more who said it.
The messaging, yeah.
If Elon Musk or Oprah comes out, Sasa Betty, No one wants to work these days. You gotta work, you gotta whatever. They're gonna put a picture there with Oprah's name, and then it's gonna be like a famous quote, and people will be retweeting it, and they'll stick it up on motivational websites and all that thing, right?
Yeah.
I think because it's Kim Kardashian, everyone was just like, nah, not you. Come on, not you. Which is unfortunate. It really is. It's unfortunate because I think, for the most part, if you take her words purely from what they're saying, they're just saying, get your ass up and work. If you feel like the environment is not conducive for you achieving your objectives, go to a room that is. I don't have a problem with her saying it per se. I don't think anyone.
But it's not that simple though. That's the thing. Like it's really not like. I feel
it is.
It's not like that.
It isn't. It isn't. But what I'll just add is, even from there, like it's one thing to just have your sex tape up. It's one thing for your dad to be a rich lawyer, or your stepdad to be like a gold medalist at the Olympics. What then happens is to take that, because I look at pop culture over the last 15 to 20 years, and I think the Kardashians, especially Kim, have been like right front and center of that shit. Like
Absolutely.
In terms of reality TV, all the reality TV shows we see in the States, in SA, the type, I wouldn't even say the type of content we see on the internet or consume, but even like the way that girls dress and their bodies, the way the BBL and all these things.
Yeah.
So many women have modeled themselves to almost look like Kim Kardashian nowadays, right? Because I think
she made the plastic look. I think she made it like trend. She made it cool. Because there was a lot of hate. In the beginning with hey, it's a fake ass, hey, it's fake tits, blah blah blah. But like now it's literally every other Instagram model has had some work done, and it's like, all right, cool,
doing that shit.
So
it
she's been a trailblazer.
It takes a lot of work to do all of that shit, and I think it's very simplistic to almost dismiss her as the girl who had the sex tape released and that got her famous. I think there's been a lot of work that, as a family, probably her mother more than anyone else, but as a family, including herself, have done to just push their brand to another level.
But I think so here's the thing. I think there's certain things that are always going to hurt people, right? At the end of the day, it's like for example, if you have a really rich person, right? LeBron James or something like that, who's like, oh my god, like I'm going through a lot mentally, stress, what, right? People are gonna give him flack because they're like, yo, you're an athlete, you play a game and you make millions. What the fuck are you stressed about, right? The everyday man is generally gonna feel that way a lot of the time, right? And even us, like if I go and I'm just like, yeah, guys, just work hard, right? If I go to a school in Zim, and I go to BAS, for example, and I give a speech, and I'm like, no, guys, you just have to work hard. Me now, I worked hard. I was waking up at 5 a.m. every day, and I went and took my CVs and whatever. And it's genuine hard work, right? I genuinely woke up at 5. I genuinely did these things that I'm saying I'm doing, right? But people are gonna roll their eyes. Why? Because they're like, nigga, you went to the best schools literally all your life. Your parents took you out of the country. They exposed you to so many more opportunities. Now you want to come back to Skies and tell us, yeah, just work hard. You know what I mean? So like, people would roll their eyes and it's just like, nah, bro. Like, some people will eat it up, So then that's where the Vusies of the world make their money. Because niggas, I don't know what it is. So I feel like there's half of society that consistently wants to be told that, right? Or to get up and grind. They consistently want that because there's people who got rich and are getting rich off of that, just repeating that to people, right? And then there's people who get thoroughly annoyed and upset when they get told that, because again, life is not equal. It's not just the hardest work. Like I said, the hardest workers are not necessarily the most successful people right now, because it's not a fair race. You know, if I have connections, I really don't have to work hard. You know, other people don't have the connections that I have. Therefore, they have to put in a lot more work to be equally as successful. That's just how life is at the end of the day, you know? So I think, yeah, like you said, the messenger is in a lot of cases, it's very difficult to get the messenger right for people to actually
Which is
listen
why
and say, okay, sharp.
I'm actually not a fan of motivational speakers and motivational talks. I think I've told you this before, but that's just because a lot of people, and you mentioned Uguti, you know, when if you were to go back to blues now after maybe you've been living in Dubai, with a lot of support from your parents, a lot of people would look at you and be like, my guy, the messenger here, not it. Which is why I don't like, because a lot of motivational speakers hide that fact. If they've gotten a donation from someone, if they've gotten help from whoever, if you got rich off your uncle's money or a hand over from your dad, or your dad left you the business and then you grew it, a lot of people tend to hide that, and then they'll come to motivational talks and write a book, and then we'll just buy it and lap it up and we'll just be, oh my god, so inspired. One thing that I will add though is I don't think that should discount, because I don't think you get to where you are just by virtue of that you had things handed to you, right? You still had to do the work, right? You still had to take chances, you still had to put in the hours, you still had to do X, Y, and Z. So even if you're sent to the best schools outside the country, whatever, you might still have a piece of advice which someone who hasn't been afforded those opportunities can use, right? You might still be able to be like, hey, you know what, even though Mina, I got sent away, maybe write your letter like this. Maybe I applied, you know, something I always say to people like, oh, how do I find articles? Be like, my guy, Mina, I sat down for a good 3 months in a year and I sent out my CV every single evening to every single firm I could find on the internet. I did that for 3 months. Coming from someone who went to a private school, it may not hit the way I wanted to someone else. Because then it's like, no, your parents sent you to South Africa and then you worked and then you probably came easy, but no, probably not. Maybe there was an element of me working hard which elevated me from the opportunities I already had. And it could also help you in your situation move on from where you already are. And which brings me back to Kim. I don't think she's necessarily wrong to say that, because even though her dad was a lawyer, she had probably the most famous sex tape ever released on the internet. There's still work that she then had to do to reach the point where she's a multimillionaire entertainer.
Yeah, I mean, do you think if she prefaced, so before the whole work hard speech, if she said, yeah, my sex tape leaked, but you know, like there was a lot more work that I put in beyond that. Like, so if she started 100%, there, do you think it would have been taken differently?
Yes, and that's because I think it comes across as more authentic, and that comes back to the point I was telling you about why some motivational speakers piss me off, because you're gonna come and tell me do this, but you won't tell me what, you know, maybe I got a handout from someone along the way. It's always I attended so many of these things in university, bruh, where they'll say, oh, Mang is coming to talk to you, because obviously we're at Wits, right? So oftentimes when you're at Wits, all these big celebrities and famous people who've made it like to come and talk to us, you know, students, and inspire us, whether successful lawyers or business people, because it's close. It's in Joburg, it's in Braamfontein, right? It's central. Plus they get a lot of clout from that. So they'll come and they'll talk, and then somewhere along the line, it's struggle, blurry, I'm not sure what happens, and then all of a sudden, success. Yeah, but there where it's blurry, tell me what happened there for you to get that first million? What happened? What was the thing? I do think, yes, Kim comes across as inauthentic when she doesn't say, hey, I'm aware Uguchi had
because it was such a big thing,
But
right?
work
Because before that sex tape leaked, for example, again, I'm sure she was famous, but like, I had no clue that she existed. When that thing dropped, bro, I'm pretty sure if Google released the numbers, of whatever year that it dropped, of how many times people searched on Google her name,
Yeah.
like I think it's one of those things where it's like it's so it's such a big moment in your career, right? For
Yeah.
good or for bad reasons, it's up to however people interpret that. But it's such a huge moment in your career where it's like, people are like, but bruh, like how do you you know what I mean? Like how do you skip
Yeah.
that? Like you can't have the the like for example, if I don't know, I can't even come up with a good enough comparison, but like Nelson Mandela being in prison, right? Robben Island. If he were to make a speech or someone, whatever the context could be, and then it's like, bruh, like at the end of the day, you're not referencing the fact that your ass was in jail, my nigga. Like you know what I mean? Like it's like you are now pretending like that part never. No, not pretending, but it's just you're coming off as if you weren't just in jail for 27 years. People might just be like, like wait, hold on. So like I think with her, maybe acknowledging it is like, yeah, shit, it happened, right? But even like I said initially, how many sex tapes drop on Twitter every day, bruh? Every day. And those people aren't billionaires.
I think at that time, the Kim Kardashian sex tape thing, I think it came at a very crucial time in terms of media and cell phones, because that was round about the time I think a lot of.
So you think perfect timing, perfect storm?
Access. Perfect storm. It may have been intentional because I think the tape itself was recorded in 2002. It was released, I think, in February 2007. And then that was the same year Keeping Up with the Kardashians started. So it may have been, I don't know. I'm not saying it was
interesting.
Leaked. I'm not saying it was leaked. Personally, I'm just drawing conclusions based on the dates. But I think if you go on the internet and you check it out, it was made Kudala when Ray J was still like big. And then it was only, I think, 5 or 6 years later that it became public knowledge, and which coincided with people having access to cell phones and the internet. Then it's distributed and redistributed.
Bluetooth, Sony Ericsson, Samsung E250.
Exactly. those Nokia
era.
Symbian phones. Yes, that.
Yeah.
It coincided a lot with that.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. If it was, I'm not sure if it was intentionally leaked, but even from there, right? Fine, it's leaked. There's still a lot of work that she had to do. Whether it's marketing, whether it's branding yourself, then you go into, fashion, entertainment, social media, all of it. Like you can still acknowledge it. Hey, I worked.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we so I just came up with a reference. So like with a lot of these rappers, for example, if Kanye, is like I'm work hard. It's just hard work and waddy, right? Like Jay-Z put him on, right? So at the end of the day, like there's people who, and if you pretend that Jay-Z didn't give you the assist of the year type of thing, like, and you just are talking with me, I just wrote rap songs and I produced music and boom, people are like, wait, hold on, like without Jay-Z, maybe you'd never even get to that point where you have that many people listening to your music, and it's just, I think that tape is way too synonymous with her for, again, positive and negative reasons, but it's just it's like, bruh, that's the inflection point. That's where shit took off, right? There was no, if Keeping Up with the Kardashians just launched, I'm sure it would have been a somewhat successful show. But, like, I don't think the Kardashians would matter like that. I don't think so. Because it really started, at least, again, this is just me, in terms of my consciousness and getting to know that family, right? It really started with Kim. She was the biggest star out of all of them, right? And then as the years went on, Courtney started to become more of a star. Chloe started to become more of a star. Then the two little ones. The other one is a billionaire. So like then obviously there's Kris Jenner. So like it then became like a family, conglomerate type of situation. And then Bruce becomes Caitlyn. Like it was like, bruh, hit after hit, dog. Then you have Chloe with Lamar. Then you have Chloe with, who is this one who keeps cheating? Tristan Thompson. Like, bruh, like this is what I'm saying. Like Kris Jenner is the Sir Alex of reality TV, dog. He's the Phil Jackson of reality TV. The Steven Spielberg of reality TV. Because that woman, bruh. Yeah. Me personally, if there's a book, I'm pretty sure there is a book. I'll read it. I got Jenner. No. Kris Jenner? I'll read that. I'll read it any day.
So wait,
because if she was working, bro, overtime.
So wait, let's say she's the one who said exactly what Kim said. Do you think that people would receive it differently if Kris Jenner is the one who said people don't want to work hard?
Yeah, I think so. I think so. I mean, because yes, she had privileges, but like it's because again, maybe there is something huge on her part that I'm just not aware of or whatever, right? But for the most part, yes, we understand that she had privileges, right? She had access to people with wealth and blah 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 blah, right? But at the end of the day, there are still a lot of wealthy people who don't have fame at all. Rich as fuck, right? They want to be famous, but nobody cares, right? Nobody gives a fuck. So it does take work for people to know you, especially when you have your daughter's Kim Kardashian. Everything is about your daughter, right? How she was able to get the rest of the family on as well, right? There's been spin-off shows with the other kids and all this other shit that's going on, bro. Like, and she's out here just like, right now, drop this bomb now, bah! Do this, da. You know what I mean? Like, it's all this stuff where she's out here orchestrating all this shit, and the kids are just flourishing, and she's just there in the background, doing her thing. So I think if she said that, it would definitely be 10 times more, well received. But I mean, again, people might still be negative, like, hey, you're just riding the coattails of Kim, Maybe people would say, yeah, you didn't work hard, but who knows? Like, there's always going to be a section of people that are never going to be satisfied, period.
True.
Just, not going to happen.
Look,
haters are going to be there to be haters,
all I'll say is, take away Kim Kardashian from whoever said, from the words that she said, and just make it seem like it was said by whoever on the street, and you'll take it as it is. I mean, it's pretty decent advice. It's not amazing. It's not mind blowing. Obviously, yes, people can feel like you're being a bit condescending, but hey.
But also, again, do we really need to be told to work hard?
No.
That's the other thing. Like, my nigga, like, I know. You know what I mean? Like, it's really not.
I'm aware.
Like I said, there's a section of people who really want to be told that, right? There's a market for that. But then also, because we have those friends on Instagram, right? Every other day or every day on Instagram, what are they posting? Motivational quotes. And I roll my eyes every single time because I'm just like, the lion and the sheep, and then like the Peaky Blinders. I'm just like, hey, all right, as some many get saying imali yakhona. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, there's some quotes that are glorious. Like, you're like, no, this is a quote that I'll post. But some of them are just kind of like, the same way you don't rate certain motivational speakers. Like, I mean, I don't rate certain people who are just like, if your thing is just in J, or post a motivational message, like, that's just all you're doing. It's
Can't
like,
be.
Yeah, I'm just like, dog, like, fuck bro. Post a joke, all right. Because it's like, I mean, but again, like, I'm just not the target market. This is just me speaking for me. Maybe there are people who see your statuses and they're like, oh my God, yes, I needed to see that. Because there's people who post affirmations, positive affirmations, and people appreciate that.
And that's right? Good,
So I guess everything, everything has a market. So, but anyway, let me I'm a motivational coach. But anyway, Mr. Moyo, let's let's move on, because I'm sure someone's just got feelings listening to this. But yeah, guys, the Batman was released I think about 2 weeks ago now. I had an opportunity to see it a weekend ago. Not this past weekend, but the weekend before that. Senna also had an opportunity to see it. I thought it was absolutely fantastic. 10, let me say 9 to 9.5 out of 10. I need to watch it again. This might be an emotional reaction from my side. I absolutely loved it. I thought it was the Dark Knight levels of brilliant. There's a lot of things, Zoe Kravitz was amazing as Catwoman. I think, Robert Pattinson was a really good Batman, a great Batman, and not necessarily a great, and again, we won't talk about any spoilers just in case anyone's not seen it. But yeah, I thought Robert Pattinson was a decent Bruce Wayne. I would have liked to have seen more of a difference between Batman and Bruce Wayne in terms of personality. But again, it was a year 2 Batman, so he's still finding himself, So I'm expecting character development in the next, 2 movies to come through. But overall, the Riddler, amazing, Joker level, Heath Ledger's Joker level of brilliant. The Penguin, again, dude, have you seen what Colin Farrell looks like? I was like, what? How? There's no way that's Colin Farrell, bro. Like, that makeup was insane. What else? But again, me personally, I know people complain about the 3 hours runtime. Any comic book movie, I don't mind. Even 4 hours, I'm okay. I'm not pressure, Although Avengers 4 was a little bit over 3 hours, if I'm not mistaken, and that one bored me because the first hour is just boring. It's just boring. From the time heist onwards is really where the movie should have started. That is amazing. That is the best comic book movie of all time, from the time heist Pumping, So that's what I think about Avengers. But I think for me, the 3 hours was fine. I wasn't bugged by it at all. I had an amazing time with Batman. And it's doing really well in the cinema right now. But Mr. Moyo, clearly you're here to hate, so tell us, what is your hating ass about to say about this movie?
I'm not a hater. I went to watch Batman last weekend. My friend Sims was like, let's go watch Batman. I'm like, I'm always down for a decent comic movie. There's 2 parts for it. I understand the acting and the artistic brilliance of it. You can tell that Robert Pattinson he performed really well in it. So I have no qualms with his actual acting. But maybe because I don't like Batman as a superhero generally. I feel like he's a poor man. Dog, I feel like if you gave me money, I can do what Batman does. Money, a couple karate lessons, and a costume. Literally.
Manga, but okay, go on.
This guy be picking on I always tell you, some of the Batman's villains leave a lot to be desired. You got the Joker, a guy who's got a mental disorder. Then you have Penguin Man, just the guy who owns a club. He's got a following and some goons. It's like and on top of that, he always catches hand from Catwoman, but then he doesn't want to jola with her. But then it's like but so I went to watch Batman. The thing with Batman movies, they've been done so much, I always have an idea of what to expect, right? So it's like, give me something different. And what's unfortunate is, the reason why I like Iron Man so much is the comic relief that it comes with, and the way it alternates between the very serious and the very humorous. Batman's a very dark film. So if you like the comics, I'm sure you the comic books and the comic franchise, you would love the Batman and you would enjoy it.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And I can totally understand someone like you saying 9.5 out of 10, because watching it objectively, I could tell these guys really put their neck in it. Now, as a neutral, I didn't enjoy it as much as I had hoped. The running time was long. I think I got to a point where I'm like, okay, can this thing end now so I can go home? That's just because it's like, my guy, we're now 2 hours and 15 minutes into this thing. How far were you? And then I'm waiting.
So 2 hours and 15?
2 hours and 15 minutes. So I was like, okay, I've been here in the cinema for over 2 hours now. I even went to go pee and come back. And I was like, okay, let's go.
Wow, you even left?
Dude,
man, you're not serious.
There's only, you can only hold it in for so long before your slushy's finished, your popcorn's finished, and now you're just there like, right, I need this movie to end now. That was my initial thoughts, right? It, as a franchise, and I get it, you love this about it, and I won't even bother fighting you with it. I understand that's the theme, that's the way it is, but I think it doesn't have to be that dark as a superhero comic film.
So much you for my jokes.
Like, just make it a bit lighthearted.
No, you see,
like
this
one
the
line or
MCU has ruined movies. Have ruined comic book movies because now because again the MCU is a juggernaut, right? So many people watch Marvel movies, a huge number, right? Loyally. That when you have different types of comic book movies, people are like, no, why wasn't there jokes? And it's like comics, and that's how you know people don't actually know these comic book characters, you know?
No, we don't.
It's not meant
and
to
we don't
be,
have to.
It's not meant to be jokes all the time. And this is and the biggest point, the funniest thing about this whole thing, right, is when the MCU started, it was Iron Man, right? And people really didn't know Iron Man like that. People really didn't really know Thor like that. You know, like the only popular one was Hulk, right? Hulk, Spider-Man, X-Men. Those were the big boys. Those were the A-listers. Thor, Captain America, Iron Man, those are the B-listers, you know? And because those are the B-listers, the brilliant thing that Marvel did, right? Again, it's not really, they had no choice because they didn't have access to their A-listers. They sold them off. They were broke. They were going bankrupt. So the brilliant thing that ended up happening is that they had to work with the B-listers and they had to make the B-listers cool, right? And by having to make the B-listers cool, they were able to change quite a few things. I mean, again, the Tony Stark character is consistent in the comics, right? It's pretty consistent to who he is in the comics. But like in the way that the tone of how the Marvel movies were and where they were going with it, with a lot of the characters, like they were able to change up a lot of things, and people weren't going to be too pressed about it. The issue with DC is that because Superman is so popular, because Batman is so popular, Wonder Woman, like some of these other characters are so much more popular, and DC had access to their A-listers. You know, everyone has an opinion. Hey, Batman mustn't be like this. Hey, Batman is dark. Hey, Batman is this. Hey, Superman would never kill. Batman would never use guns. Like all these very deep and emotional, you know, people who put out these opinions, right? And that's what I think is that's what the biggest difference between the Marvel movies and the DC movies was. Because the B-listers for Marvel weren't as popular to the general fan, Senna now comes into it and says, you know what? I like this Iron Man. You know, he's quippy, there's jokes, it's lighthearted, it's a bright movie, great, you know? And that's what Senna knows. Senna's not going to bother going and reading the comic book, you know, and knowing the lore and the history behind that. Senna's just going to go with what's on the movie, you know? So, like, I think that's what, for me, is the biggest frustration, that Marvel can get away with it. But then also now it's like, I don't want every movie to be jokey. And that's why I love the Batman. The Batman is the world's greatest detective. And until now, there'd never been an actual proper detective movie where Batman is finding clues. You know, shit is going off. And it's like, he has to figure shit out. The Dark Knight was kind of like that. You know, but I think this took it a step further, you know? And he was making mistakes because he's a young Batman. Like there's so much sophistication And like, bruh, the thing was just brilliant, guys. It was, the thing was just brilliant. But anyway, Mr. Moyo, I do understand your concerns. I don't think that you were the target market for Batman.
No, listen, that's why I started off by saying, ultimately, I understand, and I get why, you would say, hey, this is such a great movie, blah, 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 you love it. But I think when all of us, how many were we when we left the cinema? I think 5 of us. All 5 of us came through and were like, hey, my guy, wasn't as excited about the Batman as I had hoped. And it's not to say that it's not a great production, it probably is. But I think when you're not a comic book fan and you're watching it as a neutral, it's like, what are we doing here?
So, Mr. Moyo, you wanted to talk about traditions and namely the prefix test. Memories. What's up? Did you have a bad dream?
No, I didn't have a bad dream. I came across a tweet. I'm just trying to see if I can pull it up. Someone was talking about, is my school... Here we go. Did anyone else go to a high school where you were expected to learn all the prefix names and surnames, then take a prefix test for that? Or was it just the high school I went to? So, me reading this, Mr. Maps, me and you will know that a prefix names test is pretty standard when you're at high school.
Yeah.
But we are about to saying, what the fuck is this? Which school is this? What do you guys mean you had to learn their name?
Oh man! So this person who tweeted, is it like, are they based in SA or a different part of Africa or what? Well, not even Africa, I guess.
No, I think they're based in Zim or Blues or SA. Probably Zim Blues or SA. But I can just tell that it's within that circle of people.
She said Zim Blues or SA. Siyabonga umthwakazi. The recognition.
No. But you're very good at nitpicking. But anyways, I'm not sure if I can. I don't like shouting people out and then they're like, but guys, my personal information is out there. But anyways, a lot of people are like, that's some bullshit. And then I'm like, how? What do you guys mean is bullshit? Because we went through it.
I lived it.
I lived it. So when we're at
that
CBC,
was my reality.
That was reality. When we're at CBC, obviously you start Form 1. And I'll never forget the orientation day, because that was like a reality check. I will never forget it. So what happens is the day before...
I was never there. I missed that day.
I have no idea. Oh, you still thought you were going to Falcon or some stupid shit.
No, I don't know why I didn't go. But I just, for some reason, I just never made it. And then you guys were telling me the stories that like the next day or that next Monday or whatever, shit is peak.
So school opened on Tuesday, right? So when you're in Form 1, you have to come in on Monday for orientation. Basically, they show you your classes, you meet your teachers, they show you around so you know how to get through that. So it starts off in the morning, you meet the prefects, and they're like, I remember our class prefect was, I've forgotten who it was, man. I forget. But anyways, they're like, they show you around, they're like, okay, this is it. It actually might have been Nigel, Fox's brother.
Spander.
It might have been Nigel. I'm not sure. But they obviously they show you around. He was a lower 6 prefect at the time. They show you around and they're like, you come here.
Yeah, because I was like, I remember him for more than 1 year. Okay, cool. Yeah, he was a lower 6 cop. Yeah.
And then they show you around like, okay, your class is here, and they're like friendly in the beginning, right? And then they're like, okay, Form 1s, you're gonna go to the hall now, and then the prefects are gonna talk to you. I'm like, okay, cool. So obviously you're all just like excited, first day of high school. I was there with Ray and a couple other guys from Whitestone, so we're all happy, we're all happy-go-lucky. It's chill, right? Then we get to the hall, and all of us are like yapping, talking our ears off. We're free, we're comfortable. Then they shut the doors, and then all I heard was, shut the fuck up. I'm like, mhlambe skolo. Bro, I was so shook. Like, shut up, keep your heads down. I'm like, hey, okay, keep our heads down. What
How?
So we're sitting on the floor, and now at this point, I'm like, how? Wait, guys, what the hell happened? Because obviously they tell you about high school and all them things, but I didn't know it was gonna be like that. Also, Whitestone, you were coddled, guy. Like we were like held incredibly soft.
Absolutely.
And then they start shouting. Obviously, they tell you the rules. They tell you about seniority. They tell you about school spirit, compulsories. You'll get beaten. Don't go snitch on your parents. Don't go tell your parents weird things. It was a lot. Like, and then from there, you're like, okay, shit. This is Lapa. This is jail. This is prison. And then they're like, you will be expected in the space of, I think, was it 2 or 3 weeks, to learn all the prefects' names.
I think it was 2 weeks.
So something like that. To learn all the prefects' names,
Yeah.
and then you'll do a names test. So basically, there's about 26 prefects at the time when I was in Form 1. About 26 thereabout. 5 lower 6 prefects, the rest were upper 6 guys. So then we had to know their names. And then after 2 weeks, you do the names test. I'm not sure, I've forgotten because it was so long ago, but I don't think it was written. I think for some people it was written, and then you submitted the names, then your prefects would like check for you if you got them. But then I think there were people who were taken into the common room. I remember I was taken into the common room. So what they do is they come to the common room, head down, head up, who's this? Head down, head up, who's this? Head down, head up, who's this?
I think I did one of those.
And then if you got it wrong, get detention, break time detention, because obviously you can't miss a single name. I won't mention this, but the common room was dark, right? I don't mention the name, but the common room was dark, and they did that shit intentionally. I promise. There was another prefect who was very dark in complexion when we were in Form 1. And then they...
Dark?
Yeah, it was dark in complexion. I'll tell you in private. And they're like...
No, just tell me now, is it?
Aye, but it's not about to air people's names. I don't know where this guy is.
Nah, air the own, bro. What do you mean?
So anyways, get into the common room.
Text me and I'll say it.
Head down, we get into the common room, and they're like, who's this? I remember looking up, and I genuinely could not see him. All I could see was the shirt.
Oh, the green item.
Yes. I think I took a few seconds. I took a few seconds. I'm like, no, it's Mr. Smang Mang. And they're like, oh, okay. But I think that was a trick, because literally the common room is underground, right? It was underground, under the hall. It was dark.
It's a
basement room where you really can't see a thing. Luckily, I got that right. But then I'm surprised that not all schools did this, because from literally that year, we all knew our prefects' surnames. Almost what they did at the school, what they captain, what clubs they're in, what houses they're in, and all of that. Mr. Maps, do you have any recollections of your prefect's names test?
Man, that shit is a blur, bro. Like, I barely remember, but I do remember, being taken into the common room, like just like you said, and being asked, who's this? I think I got them all right. Because I think I feel like I had like extra time over other people. I don't know. I don't, but I'm pretty sure that I got them all right. And it was just a lot of things about CBC. I was just like, what the fuck, bro? In terms, so but I can imagine.
What I was coming to, in terms, you just said there were a lot of things that were just like, what the fuck? Because a lot of people are just saying it's a popularity thing so that people can just have people know them.
Oh yeah, no, it's a big ego boost. Like, to be a prefect who in that era, oh my god, bro, that's like, they might as well stroke your dick, bro. Because, like, wow, like it was great. It was what everybody aspired to be, because it's like you have so much privilege, so much. Everybody knows you. Everybody has to respect you. Like you can't not respect the prefect.
Yeah, you have to be sir. They have to call you Mr. Whoever. They have to greet you.
Yeah, walk into a classroom, everybody stands up. Like, bro, what the fuck? I want like the marketing to be a prefect.
No, they marketed
top-notch.
it. They marketed it
top-notch.
very well. I got CBC. They did it very effectively, and just the powers that be. But then there were a lot of other rules, obviously, which I look back now and I'm like, that was some fucking bullshit. But then I think each school had their own little thing. So I remember I once went to Plumtree to play cricket, Plumtree High. So the good thing about being in Form 1 is, and you play a sport, you get to travel to many different schools in the country, and then you get to see how things are done or how other Form 1s are being treated. You know that Form 1s in Plumtree are not allowed to be seen walking. Like they had to run everywhere.
Really?
Yeah, they had to literally jog everywhere.
Check, bro.
Dude, I remember.
You see, me, I wouldn't have survived in some of these schools. Nah, I tell too much. Like, even with the cops, yeah, like because at that point I was relatively big in terms of stature. Relatively, there weren't that many people that were bigger than me. I mean, there was a bunch who were stronger, right? Because obviously they're older and shit. But there weren't that many people that were just bigger than me. So like, it took a lot to intimidate me, you know. And there was certain cops. Again, I wanted to air the next turn, but when I was phone. But there were certain niggas that if it weren't for that stupid blazer, bruh, you know, because it's like you're trying so hard to be, I don't know if the word is cool, authoritative, whatever the fuck they were trying, and you just look at them and you're just like, bro, like, this is extra, dog. Like, why are you yelling? You know what I mean? Like, you know, like, bro, like, this is in my mind, I'm just like, this is completely unnecessary. But you know what? I don't want to start trouble, so I'm just gonna listen and, you know, say what the guy says. Like, the other cops that were just disrespectful for no reason. There was another cop, criminal, but like, you know, pissed off the wrong person, and prize giving day, man was on the run. Man had his head on a swivel. You know, there are people that wanted to team the earth. Speech Night was funny because that's where people had time for fights. You know, Speech Night was hilarious. We should spend some time on Speech Night one of these times and have someone who went through some shit. Because for some reason, that was the night where everybody who had beef needed to settle that beef. Someone who's child someone's age, you know, a cop who's pissed off another earn, because like there were other cops who would delela their own peers, right? So it's different now, delela fan.
Yeah.
But then now when you talk shit, you're upper six and you're talking shit to other upper six earns, like you get, like it was like one of those, I won't say it was an unwritten rule, but it was just not, it was generally not a thing for other cops to get other upper six earns jacked, right? Most upper six earns.
No,
because there was like mutual respect amongst all of them, but like there were others who'd over rev and get another upper six on jacked. It drama. Right. Seriously, had mad drama, bro. Like for an old boys school, the drama that was there is just like I know at GC they I was told stories about drama that was there, but like I'm pretty sure the drama at CBC was better. It was a lot, bro. Like yo, like it's prefects. No, well, Togolama diva. Cops number one.
What I wanted to ask, do you reckon that so obviously this whole thing comes from colonial era school teachings, which unfortunately have transcended throughout all Zim schools, right? I'm not sure if it's unfortunate, but it's just the way it is. You go to, like I went to Loma Kunti and literally guys were like, yo bruh, this is jail, this is prison. Do you reckon that kind of stuff helps build young men, especially because I know, like, you know, as guys, we grow up on that whole act manfully, be tough, don't tell your parents when you've got problems.
I mean, we've spoken about this, and it's like I don't think so. I think for me the best thing to ever happen to me was to move to a co-ed school. There's some things that are positives that I take away from CBC, right? There's certain things where I'm like, okay, yeah, this was good. But at the end of the day, overall, it's a no from me because, you know, there's a lot of problematic gents out there, bro. You know, who went to CBC, went to Falcon, went to Gandhi, and you know they're terrorizing these women, bro. Like, what's the running joke about? Hey, first team rugby earns, like they won't shut up about that. They played first team and they're fucking 35 years old, you know, and which I'm like, hey, listen, if that's the best thing that has happened in your life and you won't shut up about it, I feel like don't shit on somebody if that's the best thing that has happened in their life. Because typically the people that are shitting on those niggas are people that were hella jealous in high school.
Yeah,
so it's not fair. So you can't act like, oh no, it's a maturity thing. No, shit got better for you, right? And didn't get better for them. And then now you're basically being them in high school, except now it's, you know, later in life, you know? Yeah, so I don't think so. But anyway, those niggas get shitted on, but whatever, right? But like for me, I'm like, nah, it is what it is. But like I think that culture, yeah, there's certain problems we have as Zimgents in general because of that culture, you know, and the way they've gone about changing certain things now, I don't think it's worked either. You know, I don't think so. It's not quite there with the education system. Nah, I think in terms of from the aspect of academically, obviously it was great because there's a lot of successful guys who we've graduated with and they're doing really big things in life. But we're just talking about the psychology, you know, how they view being men.
Like the Plumtree rule, right? Don't walk around, you know, you run everywhere when you're in Form 1.
Yeah.
What was the basis for that, I guess, was trying to keep you fit and healthy and all these things, I assume.
But it's unnecessary. Just make them run laps in the morning, you know? Like, it makes no sense. Like, do you remember how Lokuzen? But I mean, okay, fine. That makes sense-ish. But remember, at Whitestone, Calvin Blicknot, right? He was a chubby guy. He was a chubby boy, you know? Even, what's his... Gerald as well is another chubby guy. We saw these ones one term, not even a year, bruh. Fucking 3 months later. And I'm just like, nah. What the fuck is going on here, bro?
No, like, always killed me. One person always killed me. Because when we left Whitestone, he was like, you know, super chilled, very soft guy. Saw him a few months later after a term at Falcon. My man had changed, bro. It was now,
bruh,
tough. It was now combat as well. I'm like, hey.
Of course, he had a deep voice, bruh. He had to pull it out, right? Like he like you said, he was laid back. He was himself, right? He was his like what he wanted to do and how he wanted to express himself. He expressed himself, right? Because that was the environment that we had at Whitestone for everybody to be themselves. But Budgie, like no, like CVC has problems. But whatever Falcon, I think those ones have more problems. Like, Jack, bro. Like,
would you actually send your child to
dealing with Falcons?
Would you send your child to boarding school? Just out of curiosity, before we move on from this.
Never.
Gonna be a day scholar?
No, I mean, I need to go and, you know, yeah, I think they be a day scholar. It gives it's a better. I think it's a better microcosm of what life would be because they get exposed to different things. You know, they'll have school life, sports, general life. You know, outside of school. You know, like there's a lot of things you can do outside town. You know, that you just won't be exposed to coming home on the holidays and shit like that.
So you think that they end up just being, in my opinion, they have a myopic view of life. They don't. I don't know, end up being social.
Yeah, because I mean, my God, can you imagine 3 months being stuck with a bunch of men every day, bro? Every day, dog. I have to pretend to be tough, you know. I have to pretend to, you know, call women bitches and hey, yeah, let's talk about fucking getting hit every day, bro, and like, you know, teeing hands and fucking every day, dude. It can't. Like, it can't, bro. Like, sometimes you just want to go home and just sleep, is it? And then every day we must just be, you know, pretend to be toxic males and Can you imagine how traumatizing it is for someone that's not their spec? That's not really what they want to, what they care about in life. But if my man just wants to play, PlayStation, he wants to play Call of Duty and call it a day, or he just wants to read a book. He just wants to read books all day, right? Just wants to go to school, read books, and keep to himself. But then if you're at a boarding school, you're baji. Bruh, you knows what to know. I had to read for leisure. Come on, guys. I know there was time set aside for that, but if you, there was a thing about being a rule follower that was made to be very uncool. Day schools and boarding schools. Yes. But now imagine, at least if it's made uncool and we're day scholars, it's just between the hours of 7 to 1 o'clock.
And then after that, you have the freedom.
Then after that, I can go home. Yeah, I can go home and be myself. How? Because this is alarming. What?
No, I'm joking. That's just someone who is getting home. No, but I've been thinking. Obviously, we're getting to that age now where people have to start thinking about these things, Mr. Maps. So it's like, okay, whatever. When I send my child to a boarding school, I keep my child in the day school. How is it gonna work? And the one thing I've experienced sort of post varsity is there's this togetherness that people who went to boarding schools sort of have with each other in terms of how they relate, which it almost comes as if Tina, us day scholars, we're not part of the cool club because we went home every evening. So it's like, okay, it's a bit weird. But
you mean that like right now?
Oh yeah, like if you talk to people who went to like a boarding school, like when I was literally you all went home every day. As a boarding.
Nah, they just front. Senna, those people are just fronting, fam. You know why they're fronting? Because they chop beads and chop everything. I guess that's the reason. That's honestly the reason. This thing is borders are like, and this is how I know this is true. You know how you always complain with the AFS boards, like, yeah, you niggas still won't shut up about how your deputy parents and what, right?
Yes.
The reason is the same when it comes to borders. Borders were always jealous that niggas got to go home every day, eat rice and chicken, or whatever else was served in Lini, and be able to go to town and be able to do all these other things. The same way that it was uncool to be someone who just cares about school and my grades and, they've decided, let's make it uncool to be a day scholar. Oh, nah, you niggas. Nigga, shut the fuck up. Like, you wanted to be a day scholar. Like, let's not even try to fight. There's very, very, very few boarding schools that were genuinely, this place was the shit. Very, very few. And if you ask some of these others, which boarding school did you go to? Those niggas were starving. You forget what there was 08, bruh. We were in school in 08. Them niggas was starving, fam. They were drinking Jolly Juice from sunrise to sunset.
What the
like, niggas saw the struggle. Let them nigga tell you about how they used to hide food in their trunks, bruh. Parents would give them chips, and now your trunk is fucking, nigga.
Guys,
some of us we had eat samosas in our pantries, bruh. That's single precious khululekile.
And actually love I'd actually love to hear from someone who went to like a boarding school around 08 there. Because if at home it was tense, I'm sure at school it was worse.
No, it was hunger, bro. It was hunger. It was chowing quaily, boiled quail.
I personally at that
boiled
point...
quaily lesauto. Oh no, man! Fuck. Now let's get a border on the chat, bro.
Yeah, rather.
Man. You know what? We'll get Pipsy next week. Pipsy went to Anderson. We'll get him next week.
Okay.
And he'll talk about that era.
Alright.
He'll talk about that era. You see exactly what I'm talking about. You go to Duda kupela moyo lapha. Trying to make it cool. I've done that analysis, people. Don't let a border tell you what it was lit. It was really not. Them niggas was crying on their pillows every single night. Hey, I wish I was in town, bro. But they'll never admit it in the streets. They'll never ever admit it in the streets. But anyway, that's just I had to give borders some shit. I had to get you know what?
Get that off your chest.
At Whitestone, I was I think I've mentioned this before, right? My parents went to SA for like 2 weeks or something, right? And me and Diane were too young to obviously just stay in the house unattended. So they put us in boarding school at Whitestone for 2 weeks. And this is Whitestone. That shit was nice, you know? That shit was nice. By all accounts, this pre-2008, shit was nice, you know? Can't complain at all. The borders were cool at Whitestone. Like, I wasn't mad at it. I was actually low-key excited, you know? But, again, after experiencing it for even just 2 weeks, bro.
I'm like, nah, bro. Home is fine.
Went to sleep in the bed is prison, Lokuzin, bro. Like, it was this big-ass room, and there was fucking 12 beds. Everyone has a single bed. And then if Sydney, now I can't sleep because Sydney is snoring. And it's like, you know, you're told when to wake up, when to go bath. This is study time. This is dinner time. I'm like, nah, bro. By the time my parents got back, I was like, oh my God, never leave again. I want to be a porter.
That must have been a lot.
No. And again, this is the nice version of it. You know what I mean? Like I'm just complaining about small things, but like even that, it was that much of an inconvenience for the life that we lived at home. You know, own room, acres of space, like you do what you want. Like you're in the house and like everyone is in the house, but you can't even tell everyone's in the house. There's that much space, you know? And everybody does their own thing. You do your homework when you want to do your homework. You know, obviously your parents get home like as soon as you do homework, you know, but other than that, like really, shit is chilled, you know? Shit is chilled, but boarding school is not, no, it's not it, bro.
Safe to say Tabo's kids are never touching boarding school.
No, if they piss me off, they can go. but as I don't know.
Next thing your picnic rocks up.
I would need to do a thorough review. No. Then you know what he's pissed me off. If I send the Falcon, then
the time is now co-ed, hey.
But I think day scholars is the way to go. I mean, if it's a co-ed, then I take back every single comment that I made. Co-ed, boarding school. I mean, again, it was co-ed at Falcon, but not at Whitestone, but we were too young. But in high school, time. Yeah, zingakhala time. So you know, I would need to adjust my take a little bit.
Okay. Fair enough.
But anyway, Mr. Moy, I think let's leave it here. It's been a good one. I was able to thanks for the question or for the topic. I was able to get some shit off my chest.
I can tell you were carrying a lot of things.
Nah. I'm not really. I nyashega. Anytime people hear bodies, I'm like, nigga, stop lying. Don't. It's okay. I know you're putting on a brave face,
but it's fine.
You know, we've all been there, one way or another. We've all been there. You know, defending something that is not defendable, but it's okay. You know, brothers and sisters that went to boarding school. Hey, it's okay. It's okay. Don't fight. Don't come and fight in the comments and hey, Tabo Fusi.
Guys, if you went to a boarding school, please let us know if you think that it would be it's a safe space. Contrary to what Tabo was saying, it's a safe space.
Honestly, add us with honest opinion. If you genuinely do believe it, I want to see it. I mean, personally, I want if you genuinely do believe, boarding school was an amazing experience.
Yeah.
Going back, if I had the option to be a day scholar versus a boarder, I would be a boarder. You know, Let us know.
Shem, I'll never
Let us
forget
know.
going to Loma
You know?
Kundi for the first time. Probably around Form 1. It gave prison vibes. Like, I won't lie. Loma Kundi gave me prison vibes.
But no, Kandi looked nice. I think I went there in Form 3 for rugby. It looked alright.
No, it looks
It
alright.
didn't look like they were.
But you talk to some of
suffering.
the guys and it's just it's like they're all wearing these khaki items.
But then also some of the yeah, you see the thing is about boarding schools as well. My uniform corner, bruh, like it's like it's a jail. It's even
it's like Falcon in the farmer's shoes,
bro. Yeah, the farmer's shoes, bro. And I was like, what are we doing? Like, and then no, it's because we're farmers here at Falcon. Like, get the fuck out of here, bro. Fuck, you're looking like Cobus, you know, like Okonir, and then like bruh, like Senzad. People trying to justify why you're wearing farmer shoes, but you don't have a farm.
How long have you been keeping this inside you? How many years have you been waiting to say all these things?
Listen. I've had these jokes, and now I have a platform to let these jokes, let them fly. Borders, come with all the smoke, fam. Come and tell me that I'm wrong. Let's make it the same week, second week in a row, where people are like, no, I disagree. Boarding school is amazing. And again, this is only for candidates. If you're in school in 2008, let's say 05 to 2012, anywhere in that window, sure, come through, come tell us. Because I can't speak for people who, if you're in high school in 2000, why are you listening to the podcast? I'm kidding.
For the shit.
No, I'm kidding. I'm just playing, guys. I'm just playing. Mr. Moy. Right. I see Val.
Yes. I need to go take my flu meds because, hey.
I've got an assignment that I need to work on, so I need to be serious about life since it is that and a proposal. Oh my god, I'm serious, bro. Anyway, guys, it's been another episode of 6 Foot Weights. As you know, like the thing, retweet the thing, subscribe to the thing, or else we're inclined to believe you are a border.
Oh, Mr. Maps, latest.